Hey there, I'm Zach and this is Use What You Got. Thanks for stopping by. In this video, I'd love to show you how to make this perfectly imperfect pallet wall, share some tips and tricks, and hopefully encourage you so that if you're interested, you could build this yourself. So the first step to any accent wall is to actually find a wall. The one I'm choosing to use is the back wall of my garage. And I had the great idea of doing a pallet wall. I would highly suggest painting your wall. Now, the color I'm gonna paint it is black, and here's the reason. Wherever there's a gap or a hole in the wood or some sort of imperfection, which there's gonna be a lot of them, with black paint, it'll kind of blend in more, it'll look like a shadow. This is the paint I went with. It is literally the cheapest paint I could find. I don't think it's gonna be that great, but it doesn't matter. Enough talking, let's get into it. These are boards I cut off of the pallets I have on the side of my house, but this is just a small portion of the pallets. I cut these probably months ago and they've been sitting in my garage just drying out. But my next suggestion would be, once you have them cut and they're ready to be put on the wall, before you do that, give them at least, I'd say maybe 2 or so weeks to not only dry out, but kind of get adjusted to the room that you're actually gonna put them in. I will not be using any liquid nails or anything similar to that to put these on the wall. You totally could do that, but for me, I'm in my garage, not too worried about it. I'm gonna nail it right to the wall, right where my studs are. I have them marked. We should talk about that now because I actually have 2 coats of paint on the wall. So let's check that out. It actually didn't come out too bad once I had that second coat on and it dried. You can see, even if I just do that, it's pretty bad, but it's all gonna get covered up, so I'm not really worried. The cool thing about this project is because these boards are so imperfect, like, you can kind of have fun with it. I marked out my studs, so these are gonna be really important as I'm nailing each board into the wall. And as you can see, there's a line going across. This is where I'm gonna start my boards. Yeah, it's on there now. Come on. There we go. Let's shoot 2 in the corner. What is happening? Hey, look at that. It's on there really good. Awesome. All right, piece number 2. All right, making progress. So my initial goal was to follow my line going across and get my first set of boards on there. From there, it was a great starting place. It's kind of funny, the bottom half, I definitely spent a lot more time really finessing the fit and the look of it. And as you'll see later, I didn't spend as much time on the top half of the wall, even though I think it looks just as good in my opinion. As I mentioned, I put those pieces of tape on the wall to mark where the studs were, but what I should have done, as I do later on, is actually taken a line and drawn a line from the bottom of the wall to the top. The tape was fine, but after I got fairly low, it was hard to tell if I was still in alignment with the actual stud or not. One thing I will suggest is not a good thing to do is, as I did here, start multiple rows instead of just going straight across one at a time. Later on, I found that I wasn't doing it straight. It's fine. Most of this stuff is going to be hidden by cabinets and freezer and whatnot, but if I did it again, I would not do multiple rows at once. If you want a more polished look, what you could do is take your boards and cut them down on a table saw to about a 2 and 3 inch, varying between them as you put them on the wall. Not only will it be nice and clean, but it'll kind of give a nice, back and forth look versus just every single board looking exactly the same. By doing that as well, you will probably eliminate most of the gaps, which I kind of like. I think it gives it character. Man, this day was hot. It was like 97 degrees.
As you can see, the video looks like it's kind of flickering. That's just the change of sunlight with the clouds, so I apologize about that. In the top half, I ended up using more, I think there were about 5-inch boards, and it was a nice kind of variation between the smaller ones. When I'm doing projects like this that are just very tedious and take a long time, music helps me get through, and sometimes I just gotta stop and dance for a second. But it's a lot of fun. Like once you get into a groove and you're just going and you're focused, it was actually very enjoyable to put this wall together. So another piece of advice I would say is, as you're cutting the wood, do your best to not line up joints or where two boards meet above or below the other ones. But for the most part, I really did try to vary where the two boards met up in between each board. And then from there, the rest was pretty straightforward and easy. It was just one board at a time, and you just do it. I don't really know how else to say it, but that's the fun thing about a pallet wall. I call it the perfectly imperfect accent wall, because honestly, even if you take the time to cut straight edges and you get it looking really good, this wood's very much imperfect. But I think there's a nice character about that, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this wall this way.
I'm really happy with the way it came out. I love the imperfections. I love the different colors and all this different stuff. I think it looks great, but I am super excited on how I can actually utilize this wall in the future. I think it'll be a great backdrop for videos. And I love how rustic and just rough and unfinished it looks. I know this probably isn't for everyone, but I really like it. Hopefully some of you out there like it, and if you don't, no problem. Thanks for sticking around. I really appreciate it. Hope you got something good out of this. Don't forget to use what you got. I did mark where my 2x4s, no. Oh, my legs, gosh, man. What is wrong with me? That hurts. I feel like I shouldn't be that old, but it hurts. I'm not that old. I'm not that old. Woo! Wobie, did I forget anything?